When playing Portal, there are a lot of weird things you can do. You can enter the energy orb catches, you can place portals on interesting surfaces, and you can also do whatever this is.
Stop it.
But let's take a look at something strange in Chamber 16. Normally you'll be shot by the turrets when playing through the level, but when standing in this room they'll completely stop. This is because there is an invisible barrier protecting you. There is one in this doorway and a second one next to the glass. You are completely safe as long as there's a barrier between you and the turret. This is quite similar to how the hard light bridges work in Portal 2, although you probably never notice this when playing because the barriers are turned off by the time you get here. Let's see what's causing this by taking a look at Chamber 16 from above. Here in the middle is a room that contains both barriers. When you start the level, both of them are activated by default, but this quickly changes as you play through the level, and by the time you reach this room, the barriers are switched off. This is being controlled by invisible triggers placed around the map. Whenever you pass through a trigger, it will update specific events in the game. So let's take a look at what each one does. This first one turns both barriers off, the second one turns on the glass barrier, and these final triggers turn off the glass barrier. This is why the turrets can see you here despite the barriers being in the way, although we can keep them on by changing the order we pass through the triggers. So let's try this again. At the start of the level, both barriers are activated. We can skip the first trigger by portal bumping past the door. We can also skip the second trigger by portaling past it. Now we need to touch all the triggers in this room, which turns off the glass barrier, but then we can reactivate it using the second trigger we just skipped. And there we go, the hidden barriers actually work now. But why was the logic even put in the game in the first place? Well, the creators of Portal were only a small team of developers who just graduated from DigiPen.
There are only 7 of us, 3 artists, 4 programmers. Every year at DigiPen, there's a job fair. A couple guys from Valve came by and took a look at our project and thought it was pretty interesting. But in terms of manpower, we were definitely at a disadvantage.
So it's no surprise that many things in Portal got overhauled during their 2 years of development.
What you saw in those screenshots, it took us about 8 months to do. And you may think, oh, well, they went to Valve, so they had a bunch of other people working with them. No.
When we got here, we didn't have to make a lot of concessions and we didn't change the game.
We had an amazing amount of control.
This was all our work. Of the original 7 of us, we really thought about what our environment should be and how it should reflect the gameplay.
Not only did the art style change a bunch, but so did some features in Chamber 16. In this early iteration, we can see that the doorway is completely blocked off. It's not unreasonable to think that a barrier was originally placed against the glass. The developers probably did this so that you could look through the window without being shot at. But after tweaking the map more, the original purpose of these barriers were probably overlooked and accidentally left in the game.